FBI warned Iran is aspiring to attack a Californian coastal area with drones in retaliation for the war. We also have our first purported message from Iran's new supreme leader read on state TV. We got a lot to cover. It's all brand new. A fresh security alert has been issued on the West Coast on high alert this morning after the FBI warned of a potential Iranian plot to bring the war to American soil. According to the confidential bulletin reviewed by news outlets on Wednesday, U.S. intelligence agencies suggest that Iran is aspiring to launch a surprise attack against targets in California using drones launched from unidentified vessels off the Pacific coast. While the FBI notes that it has no specific information on the timing or exact targets, the warning highlights concerns that Tehran may be looking for asymmetric ways to retaliate for the ongoing military campaign known as Operation Epic Fury. In response to the alert, Governor Gavin Newsom, my favorite guy, confirmed that California's emergency operations centers have been activated and is in, quote, constant coordination with federal partners. In Los Angeles, sheriff's deputies have already increased patrols around cultural institutions and places of worship as a precaution. Despite the heightened state of readiness, President Trump remained dismissive, and decisive, I guess, with just shutting that shit down, shutting down the threat when questioned by reporters on Wednesday, stating simply that he's not worried about Iranian retaliation reaching the United States mainland. Let's discuss this because I'm nervous about it. We've been talking about Iranian sleeper cells. We've been talking about how ever since and before 9/11, we've had a system where people will send in Al-Qaeda operatives. People will send, it doesn't always have to be Al-Qaeda, but this is just like the example of the types of groups. They come in with not citizenship, but maybe a green card. They overstay their visas. They find the ID of some kid who died, like an infant back in 1980. They assume that kid's identity, and they just work in an office building. They just live their ordinary lives. And then one day they're going to receive the activation code from the homeland, and they're going to, walk into a bank with a bomb. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying I have any personal knowledge of this. I'm saying this is blatantly obvious. We've been catching sleeper cells in the United States for a long ass time. Washington D.C. I think Virginia just had a raid on one of them. Let's hear this.
I can tell you we just learned that the FBI reportedly warned California police about that unconfirmed intelligence report involving a possible drone strike by Iran off the West Coast. That's according to ABC News.
This guy has, like, my favorite voice I've ever heard on a reporter.
It's reports like that one, which...
That one, I love it. It's, like, whiny. It's kind of gay. I like it.
It's exactly why we see some barricades outside, fencing here. We know that by Sunday there will be hundreds of...
There's people in Spider-Man costumes walking around the area that's, like, that's shut down. All of these sorts of... They're, like, modeling all sexy for the camera. If you don't believe me, I'll leave this link in the description so you can cop a peek.
Police officers deployed here to the Dolby Theater along with hundreds of federal Homeland Security and FBI personnel. Moments ago in a virtual news conference, Governor Gavin Newsom said that he was aware of those threats from Iran to attack areas of California with drone strikes. Take a listen.
Interesting.
As it relates to the broader concern, as it relates to drone strikes, we've been aware of.
If you're going to be running for president, like in 2028, like most people think you will, because Kamala, we're not going to make the mistake of going with her again. So it sucks. I don't love that he is probably going to be 2028's nominee. He has to quit it with the, I appreciate that. I appreciate where you're coming from. He talks too much like a financier guy. He talks too much like he's wearing a vest all the time.
Of that information, we've been working collaboratively through the SOC, which we established right after the war began, the State Operations Center, working with the Office of Emergency Service, but also working locally to make sure we transmit any information that we have received, and we're aware of that, which has been reported, I think, by ABC 7. We're aware of that information, and we transferred that information in real time to our local partners. Drone issues have been always top of mind, and we've assembled work groups specific.
His veneers are really poorly done because it doesn't follow the line of his skull pattern whatsoever. I think it almost looks as though they pushed back his teeth a little bit. It doesn't look proper.
Around those concerns, but That's all I'll share at the moment. I have nothing
he's slick. He's greasy.
more insightful beyond just what's been reported and how we're transmitting what we know to our local partners, which is critical.
So there you have it. But important.
No, I don't think we had anything. Because did anybody else get nothing from that entire thing that he just read off? There was no information communicated to the masses.
To note, authorities emphasize there is no confirmed specific threat tied to the Oscars right now, but they say heightened vigilance is necessary given the global tensions created by the conflict with Iran. Authorities say an encoded...
Ooh, Conan better be nervous because someone's going to stand up, someone's going to scream. There's going to be something that happens at the Oscars this year. I feel it in my heart. I feel like everybody else does.
Shortwave radio message believed to have originated in Iran was detected shortly after the reported killing of the country's supreme leader on February 28th. Investigators say the number sequence resembled signals historically used to communicate with covert operatives and may have been intended for sleeper cells, though officials stress there is no confirmed threat tied to it right now. ABC News, as we just said, reporting the FBI recently warned California law enforcement about intelligence suggesting Iran may have considered launching drone attacks from a vessel off the U.S. West Coast if American strikes occurred. Officials say the report included...
I'd like to see those bastards try. But ladies and gentlemen, L.A., I don't think that that's going to be the primary target. If they do... Guys, can you knock down the fake tallest tower? Quite frankly, what is this? Okay, there is a tower in LA, Los Angeles, tallest tower, and it used to be the bank center, the U.S. Bank Tower, and then for some dumbass reason, the Welshire Grand Center, is that what it's called? The Welshire Grand Center. Yes, this disgusting, gross, ugly, Tony Stark-ass looking building, for some odd reason, it's tiny. It's shorter than the other one. It is shorter than the U.S. Bank Tower. And as a matter of fact, the U.S. Bank Tower has higher inhabitable floors. So for some odd reason, the Welshire Grand Center area, the building itself is labeled at being 1,100 feet tall. This only is because of the spire that they built on top. Knock this stupid bitch down. It's ugly. It is not appealing. It is a building that they tried to recreate in GTA 5 and just left uncompleted. It's the Mile High Club. It is an ugly building. It doesn't deserve the title of the tallest building in Los Angeles, and quite frankly, you'd be doing us a favor if you knock this stupid, ugly thing down.
No details on timing, targets, or perpetrators.
So Iran, right there, right? That big one, not the tallest building, the one that claims to be the tallest building with that stupid little spire. That's the one. Go for that one. This is a satire show. You can't come at me for terrorism charges.
And remains unconfirmed. Meanwhile, large gatherings like the Oscars remain a focus. Security experts also believe other likely targets include transportation hubs like airports, Jewish facilities, and big sporting and entertainment events. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security say they are continuing to monitor potential retaliation threats today.
Fun. They're going to blow up the Hollywood sign.
To do something here that was going to get a lot of attention. That is something.
It's actually probably the worst time to do something to California because nobody gives a fuck about California anymore. You missed your chance. No one's cared about celebrity culture since the late 2000s. Late 2000s, once Michael Jackson dies in 2009, the last of like major celebrity singers, no one gives a shit. You like Bruno Mars music, you're not going to go to one of his concerts is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? The only concerts people are paying to go to is like Black Sabbath or AC/DC, like these old school rock and roll bands that are like, you know, they're ugly, they're old and whatever, but they throw on the makeup, they look just like they did in 1978, whatever. It's typical. And I'm sorry, the culture is just not there anymore. If you wanted to make an impact on Southern California, you should have been doing this around the time Tom Cruise was dating Nicole Kidman. You know what I mean? Was it Nicole Kidman? Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Yes, okay, I'm not wrong. From 90 to 2000, I was dead on, ladies and gentlemen. That, right around that era, was the death of celebrity culture. Ever since then, no one cares about LA, no one cares about the dream, everybody's moving to South Florida, everybody's moving to Miami. The new GTA is not set in California anymore, it's set in Miami, exactly. The cultural energy of the United States has shifted, and whatever. What I'm trying to say is Iran can pick better places to hit. California California, it's not hopping, it's not banging. What you're going to end up doing is you're actually going to just get the insurance people a good season, because there's going to be a couple buildings that are going to be damaged by these drones. Maybe it'll be like a nice little bank tower or something. And then the insurance people are going to make, they're going to make not make a lot of money, excuse me. They're going to have to pay out quite a bit. So you're only fucking them over. You're only fucking over the insurance agencies. What do you actually think you're going to hurt? You think Conan O'Brien's career is riding on how well the Oscars go? He's doing a podcast. He's doing perfectly fine. The Oscars are going to be on YouTube in a couple of years, so it doesn't even matter.
That would fall within their group of targets. It is kind of believed that they have target folders already ready to go should that day ever come, when they get operationalized. The fear is that this day has come.
Security around the Dolby Theater will be extensive. Officials say bomb squads will scan every arriving vehicle using detection equipment and explosive sniffing dogs, while SWAT teams monitor for potential drone threats capable of carrying explosive devices. Undercover officers and specialized counterterrorism units from LAPD and the FBI, Homeland Security as well, they will all be stationed throughout this area. Back out here live at this hour, we can tell you that officials say sharpshooters will also be positioned on nearby rooftops, and officers will maintain 24-hour patrols in this immediate area. The Dolby Theater. That is the latest for now here live in Hollywood. We'll send it back to you at the studio.
A light fell on him, and he wasn't able to actually keep it from interrupting his broadcast. Very sad for him. The warning from the president about how they better not be striking the United States homeland is coinciding with a major development from Tehran. The first official message from Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. I'll get it right eventually. Ali Khamenei was so much easier because he had the same name as me, just spelled differently. The Middle Eastern way, not the E way. Sorry, I had to take a sip of coffee. It was read on state television today. In the 7-part strategic address, Khamenei, who reportedly has suffered leg injuries in the initial strikes that killed his father, vowed that vengeance is a priority and demanded the immediate closure of all U.S. military bases in the region. He also confirmed that the Strait of Hormuz would remain closed as a strategic pressure tool against the West, signaling that despite the U.S. claims of nearing victory, the new leadership is bracing for long-term war escalations. And it's going to be a war of attrition. He's going out for retribution. He's going to, at his best, and admittedly, I don't think the Persians are a very powerful people. They, the best thing to come out of their country has been the cats. No one actually cares about the Persian language. Everybody just goes, are they speaking Iranian? No one knows about Persia. No one knows about it as a fascinating culture. And admittedly, they're not a strong culture. They're not a powerful people. They're a weak people, inherently, especially given their cultural reliance on the Quran. Any culture that I feel is culturally reliant on that book where their key figure marries a 6-year-old, I don't love it, and I don't think it's a very powerful society. As the conflict enters its 12th day, the juxtaposition of drone threat in California and the defiant new leader of Iran have sent another shockwave across global markets. While Trump and his administration are continuing to dismantle Iran's missile infrastructure, the rise of the younger Khamenei suggests the regime decapitation intended by the strikes may have instead led to a more radicalized and desperate leadership. For listeners on the West Coast, the FBI is urging continued vigilance as even local officials are maintaining that there is no evidence of an imminent strike at this hour, but we all need to be nervous. Nervous, that's all we need to be.
Hi, I'm Diana Macedo. Let's get right to breaking news. Iran's new supreme leader has issued...
What the hell's your name? I'm Donna CEO?
Hi, I'm Diana Macedo. Let's get right to breaking news. Iran's new...
I'm Donna Macedo. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying.
Has issued his first message since the start of the war. An Associated Press translation shows the written message says the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed and calls for Iran's Gulf neighbors to shut down U.S. bases. Meanwhile...
All right, guys. I know it's not going to be popular. I know it's not going to be whatever. I didn't want to be in this war, but since we're in it, you know? And I'm saying let's just do it. Let's just level it. I'm calling it right now. I don't care about civilian casualties. It's called collateral damage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying, pick one of their favorite cities. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Make sure it has a cultural landmark that they're going to miss. And just fucking detonate it. Wipe out, literally level. I want the streets to be painted in blood. I don't want one Persian alive. I want it to be... Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I did not ask for this, but as an American, since we are doing this, I'm saying let's not be bitches about it. Let's go in and fuck shit up. If we're gonna Afghan to this, we're gonna Afghan to this, but we're gonna take it to the point where they will have nothing standing. Find wherever this bastard is hiding, blow it up. Find wherever his brothers are hiding, blow it up. Find every shred of their bloodline, destroy them. Destroy them. Because this, I'm sorry, once you start with these people, and when I say these people, I mean religious zealots of any religion. I would say this about Bibi Netanyahu and his Judaistic, Kabbalistic weirdisms. I'm saying that once you've started a major clash with figures who think that God is on their side and will meet them in the afterlife after they have died for God, they are ready to die for God, and you need to help them on their way to dying for God.
Iranian forces attacked at least 2 oil tankers in the Persian Gulf overnight and destroyed a massive oil facility at Oman's biggest port. Now gas prices are rising for the 12th straight day as governments rush to prevent a global crisis. Let's bring in foreign correspondent Marcus Moore in Doha, Qatar, senior national policy reporter Ann Flaherty, and senior White House correspondent Selena Wang. Hi to you all. So, Marcus, what more do we know about this message from the new Supreme Leader?
Hi, Diane. That message was just relayed a short time ago. It was delivered on state television on the new Ayatollah's behalf. He did not appear. Instead, a woman read the statement with of the Ayatollah on the screen, and one of the things he said is that the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed, and he also suggested that they have considered and looked at opening other fronts of the war and exploiting areas where the enemies, as he's described them, have little experience, and he said that there would be areas that are vulnerable to us. So apparently, because they have a little bit more experience hiding in sand dunes, they'll be able to get the upper hand on us. Have little experience, and he said that there would be areas that are vulnerable to them, suggesting that as long as this war continues, that they will look at other ways to open up new fronts, and that is potentially significant amidst the calls, Diane, for there to be calm and for this war to end immediately.
You know how there's calm and how there's peace? When the streets are silent. When there's no streets left. When there's no streets left is exactly when we're going to have a level of peace. You're dealing with a people who think in their minds, I'm not saying this is all Iranian people, but this is the majority of the Ayatollah's wartime government. These are people that are willing to let their own die. They're willing to let, millions around them take bullets because they all believe they're working for the same cause. They don't, I'm sure the citizens don't feel the exact same way. I'm sure they're very upset that their cities are going to have to be leveled for their government to continue forward whatever thing they'd like. Am I saying I'm happy about the fact that we're going to have to level Tehran? Of course I'm not happy about it. But you know what? If we're going to win, we got to win.
Heard from leaders here in the region. And it's also notable when we talk about this statement that the Ayatollah, the new Ayatollah, did not appear on camera. We also have not heard his voice. As you know, he's reportedly been recovering.
You know what I think is going on very secretly, and I think that this will probably be the new way that they govern their government, because they realize that it's not useful or beneficial in any way to them to have their leader showing up on state TV. This broadcast is out of here, this one town, send a missile. I think they're going to never reveal him. I don't think he's ever going to make a public appearance. I don't think that his country will ever be, in at least his lifetime, stable enough for him to make a public announcement or make a public appearance, go out there, shake hands, kiss the babies. They don't do that, you know what I mean? They, I'm worried. I'm worried that they're too smart to let him go out of the house.
I'm at a hospital, according to sources, where he suffered injuries, according to those sources, to his legs. He was injured in the same airstrike that killed his father and other family members. So it is notable that while we have heard a message from the new
we should have finished the job.
We have not seen or heard his voice.
And Marcus, Qatar is right there between the Strait of Hormuz and where these tankers were hit in the Persian Gulf. So what's it like in Doha right now?
A little nerve-wracking.
Right now,
Things are calm.
Have a moment where the emergency alerts went out to cell phones again, warning of incoming projectiles, missiles, or drones. The Ministry of Defense then said that those projectiles were successfully intercepted, but it's been a part of the daily life here, Diane, where since this war began, almost every day, people have been receiving these messages urging them to seek shelter and be prepared for incoming projectiles. And it's rattled some people, about what is in the days ahead. But at the same time, they also have found a bit of comfort in the fact that a number of these projectiles have been intercepted, and there is a feeling that they are well protected here. But certainly, people want this to end sooner rather than later.
I'm sure they do. Doha, is he getting Qatari money, and that's why he's going, shit's actually pretty calm here? You know, you can look at the Persian Gulf, you look at the sea, you get a nice little bit, it's not the sea, but you get a little bit of that tropical vibe, and it's nice. Everybody likes it. Let's cover our next story, why don't we? Because you don't need to be nervous about this. You're an American. Thank goodness that you probably live in some crummy, dummy town, and you don't have to worry about it. You'll hear about maybe a major city getting blown up if things go really, really bad, but otherwise, you know, you're not going to be in the skyscraper, you know what I mean? You're a pauper like me. You're like an ordinary fella living on the outskirts of a town. It's fine, it's chill, it's good. You're actually one of the better positions that you could be in for when society goes to shit.